Watch how a salary website turns $44 an hour into $91,000 a year. That's $44 times 2,080 hours equals $91,520. Looks great, right? Well, there's one number in that math that's a lie. And once you see it, you will see it on every nurse salary site online. This is the single biggest reason the salary on Google is higher than the salary that you usually take home. The site is not lying about the hourly rate. It's lying more about the hours and other things that go into your pay. And here is the part that actually hurts. The danger is not in the number is wrong. It's actually the nurses that plan their lives around those numbers. It's the job that you take, the city, the apartment, all picked off of a figure that was never real. And by the end of this, you'll spot an inflated number on any site and know why it's a risky plan to plan your life on it. I'll also share a tool that any nurse can use to find an accurate take-home pay based on their specific situation. Every salary site uses a similar formula from what I've found. It's hourly rate times 2,080 hours. That 2,080 is 40 hours a week times 52 weeks. It's the default for most 9-to-5 jobs, but it was never built for nursing. About 75% of nurses work 3/12s, and that's usually what I've found. That is 36 hours a week, not 40. So before you count anything else, the formula already assumes you work more than the typical full-time nurse does. Let's do the real math side by side. So the job site math is $44 times 2,080 hours equals $91,520. The real math using 3/12s, for example, is 44 times 1,872, which is $82,368. Same hourly rate, same nurse, but a $9,000 gap, and usually the site picks the bigger number. Then it gets further from the truth. The PRN nurses with no guaranteed hours, there's float or call times, unpaid lunches, weeks of unpaid leave, maybe you're doing part-time hours. The 2,080 is not an average number. It's actually usually the ceiling for what most nurses will make. Here's the nuance that keeps this honest. Sometimes the headline is actually too low because using base rate only ignores shift differentials, shift premiums, overtime pay that push the real paycheck actually higher. So it's not simply it's too high or too low. The real problem is it's not measuring anything real. It's measuring an assumption about your hours, and that assumption is almost never real or specific to your situation. This is the part that matters. The number being off is not the harm. What nurses do with it is. And a nurse that sees a salary online treats it like a promise. She might take a job. She might sign a lease for an apartment, make plans to move or pick another city, all on the figure that assumed hours she may not work. And then the paycheck shows up smaller and the life she built around it doesn't fit and maybe goes into debt. The fix is simple and almost nobody does it. Before you accept a job, do your own real hours math. Your shift length, your hours that you work during the week, differentials, the city you live in, the taxes that are going to come out, the benefits that you're paying into and contributing towards, all of those things that come together to make a real number. To know what a nurse actually makes, you need the things that a job listing never really captures or doesn't capture the real thing. How many hours? What's the shift? What differentials? Is there a signing bonus or sign-on bonus? And the taxes, income taxes. And you need it from a nurse, not the actual job posting. This is what Jemma is. Verified nurse-reported pay that captures the real hours and the real totals, not the 2,080 multiplied by some random hourly rate. So I built the solution for you. It's the Jemma Paycheck Calculator. It's backed by real nurse-reported pay, not a flat hourly formula. And then you put in what you actually get paid, your employment type, your hourly rate, the shift differentials, how many shifts per week, and what's your normal differential for overtime, all of those things that you can adjust to see what your actual take-home is. It adjusts for any nursing schedule and gives you a true weekly, monthly, and annual take-home pay after taxes, and it works in all 50 states. It's not a normal calculator either. You can actually talk to it. Let me show you. I'm going to walk through a few real nurse examples right now so you can see exactly how to find your true number. Okay, I'm excited to share with you the calculator and how you can access it and some cool features as well. So you can actually grab the QR code that's on the screen right now or the link in the description below you'll find as well. And you can go to nursejemma.com with a Jemma. And then go to Tools and Take Home Pay. So this is the paycheck calculator. And what this allows you to do is to really set it up for your specific situation, and it gives you up to 4 scenarios that you want to maybe compare against. So for example, your first scenario might just be, hey, I want to pick up an extra 12-hour shift per week, or maybe I want to go and get a PRN position that gives me another 12 hours per month. All of those things you can do with these each individual scenarios. And then what you'll notice here is the Ask Jemma Your What Ifs. This is actually a tool that you can talk to, and you can ask random things. Like, for example, if I wanted to make an extra $500 per month take home after taxes, what kind of options do I have? And it will give you some scenarios, and then it will allow you to edit those scenarios to get towards your $500 goal. So those are some examples. One thing I do want to mention is if you're having any issues or if you have any recommendations for things to add to the website, click this Give Feedback button and drop a recommendation, maybe a wish list thing, and then let me know. Because I read all of these. So let me know your feedback if you have that, and we can get that implemented. So let's walk through a scenario. The first scenario, we'll just use our first job. So this is primary job. This is just a title, so you can name it whatever. Let's say maybe, your Health One staff. And then you work as staff. Let's say your base rate is $45.50. And then you can work, let's say you work 3 12s. And if you wanted to put in an average hourly number, for example, it would give you the ability to do that, and it would override the shifts per week in the scenario where maybe you work 12 hours per month at this specific example. You might see this pop up. This gives you the ability to set up a free account. At any time you can do that, and you can actually save your results. So if you set up multiple scenarios and you want to keep track of those and look back at them later on, you can do that for free. Set up your account using either Gmail or another email, and then basically set that up and save it. Creating a free account also does give you the ability to access the cool feature, which is the Jemma AI feature, which I want to share with you in just a minute, but I'll cover that once we get to it. So let's say you have shift differentials. Let's say for night shift, it's $2.50. And let's say on average you work or you capture, let's say 12 hours a week is night shift differential, or weekends, charge nurse, maybe transport. And then if you have an additional custom differential that is not listed, you can add that in there as well. If you've got overtime, maybe you've got, normally you pick up a few hours of overtime per week at a 1.5 multiplier or whatever number you want to put in there. And then stipends, this is per diem or travel, for example. And then you can add an additional job. Maybe you work a PRN once or twice a month or another job as well. So you can always add another job. And then this is important. This is the taxes. There's nothing that we can't get away from taxes. So depending on your state, let's just say, for example, California, let's say your filing status is single, and then, your contributions to your plans. Now, this obviously reduces how much pay you take home. So you can leave it in there, or you can add to it, or leave it blank, but just know that this is the most accurate way to get this. So if your health insurance is $150 per month, for example, and maybe let's say you contribute $200, or I'm sorry, that's percentage. Let's say it's 4% to your 401k. So in this example, your weekly take home is $1,200. So that's 30 $300 gross biweekly, or monthly it's about $7,200 gross or $5,200 per month that you would take home after taking out California taxes, your 4% contribution to your 401k, and then including all the base rate and shift differentials. You can get a breakdown of the taxes. So just keep in mind the taxes are specific to your state and federal. So depending on how you file your taxes, single or married, filing jointly, and then also the state. So California has high state taxes, and then Social Security, Medicare. These are the things that are taken out of your paycheck each week or two. And then your effective tax rate. And again, these are just estimates, but they are based off of actual state numbers. I think as of 2026 that we've captured those tax brackets. So this should give you a fairly accurate number as far as the amount of taxes that will be taken out. And then you can save, like I said, you can save your results. If you click that and then you create your free account, and then once you have your account, then it will show you those results, saved in your dashboard. You can actually save your paycheck card as well. So if you wanted to, share your breakdown, basically your weekly take-home pay based off of where you live and your specialty, you can do that as well. So just a cool little feature if you wanted to share that with the other nurses. And keep in mind too, we do have a referral program. So if you create a free account, you'll actually anything that you share will be able to count you as a referral for that person in the event that they eventually might be signing up for some of the paid features if that's something they want to do. So that gives you the breakdown for scenario one. Let's go ahead and add another scenario. So I'm going to click on scenario number 2, or to add a scenario, and then it will basically allow me to do this. I'm going to say PRN role. All right, so let's say do a PRN. Let's say they're paying us $55 an hour, and let's say in this PRN average hours per week, let's say we do 12 hours per week. So this again will override these numbers. And then let's say there's a shift differential here of $2, and we usually work 12 hours. And then overtime, and then same state, we'll do California. And this can actually work too if you're maybe flying from one state to another to pick up a 24-hour shift. I know some people that do that. They go to the higher paying cities, maybe like San Francisco, fly in, do a 24, fly back to their home in Nevada or something like that. And for crazy people like that, you could actually set this up as well. And then you've got contributions, like I said before. Let's say you're contributing, usually PRNs, you may not, set up a 401k, but let's just assume. And then no health insurance because we've got maybe the other position. So you can see here that your weekly take home would be, for scenario number 2, would be $558, and weekly, monthly, annual, and then the tax breakdowns. Now this is a separate scenario where you're only working that. If you wanted to go back to scenario 1 and add that PRN job in here, then you would do this. You would just basically add that. What did I say? $55 an hour and 12 hours. And shift differential was 2 and 12. Cool. And I think that was California. Yes. And then no health. Oh, that's actually for the primary job. So we're good there. All right. So now scenario number 1 went up to $1,600. I think it was $1,200 before. So another $400 or so per week if you add an additional 12-hour shift as a PRN, making, I think, $55 an hour. So you can see the breakdown of taxes. And again, you can save your results. So this is actually an example of scenario 1 where you're adding an additional shift. Scenario 2 basically is just the PRN role by itself. And then I want to show you now some cool things we can do with Jemma's AI. One of the ways that this paycheck calculator is not just your normal calculator is we can actually talk to it. Now, you do need to have a free account to do that, and you need to share your pay information. Jemma's based off of a database of nurses that are sharing their pay, 100% anonymous. We verify that they're actual nurses based off of the license number. And you share your pay that allows other nurses to see your anonymized pay information and helps nurses understand how much other nurses are making in their state and with their years of experience and all of the variables that go into nurse pay. So if you create a free account, share your pay, you get access to the Jemma AI tool. So let's dive into how we can use that. So when you get started and you are about to speak into the microphone and ask a question, you'll click speak. It will normally on your first visit, it will ask you for permission from your phone or your computer if you can use the microphone. So go ahead and accept that, and then it will allow you to speak. Now, when you click speak, there's going to be a record button that's going to show up down here that it's flashing and kind of like it's recording, or it is recording. And then when you're done, it'll just click the stop button after you're done with your question. What it will do is then it will think, and then it will come back with an answer and a couple options based off of what you're trying to accomplish. So let's give it a shot. I'm looking to make an extra $400 take home per month. What options do I have based off my current role? All right, so it's going to go out there. It's going to capture what you just said, and it's going to think about a couple different options to give you, and then we can work from there. All right, so a couple options that came back: pick up extra regular shifts at your current job. So one extra 12-hour shift per week would be $2,180 take home additional. There's working overtime hours on your current job. I know you don't have usually the ability to pick and choose, but if you're able to pick up an extra 1 hour of overtime per week, that's another $273 take home per month. Or maybe you pick up a PRN job on the side. One 12-hour shift at $71 an hour is $503 take home per month. So let's go with picking up an extra shift, because a lot of times, we can, or you can actually have more chance of picking up an extra shift, maybe from a coworker or somebody else, than relying on overtime. And then PRN's another option. So I captured the picking up an extra shift. So instead of 3/12s, now we're working with 48 hours. So this is an average weekly. You can keep the differentials in there if you want. I think we did like 250. Let's just say there's 12 hours a week on nights that we might rotate into. Stipends, not travel, overtime pay. That accounts in, let's see here, overtime hours per week. That'll be 12 at the 1.5. And California. Okay. So basically, actually, did I do overtime? I did overtime. I didn't mean to do overtime. Let's take that off. So we're just working an extra normal 12-hour shift, not a overtime per se. Okay. So then we're looking at, instead of 1,805 per week take home, we're looking at 2,326. That's an additional 521 a week over the regular pay. So, and then again, you can save your results here if you want. And then once you save the results, it'll be in your dashboard and you can capture those as well. So just some examples of ways to use it. You can do up to, you can duplicate this one. You can add another scenario, up to 4 scenarios. And then down here, it will actually show each of those scenarios based off of what you've done, how much it impacted your weekly take home, monthly, annual as well. So hopefully that's helpful. Like I said before, if there's any bugs you come across, the speak feature is new. So there's definitely going to be some situations where it's like, oh, why did it tell me that. So go ahead and feel free to hit the send feedback button. Let me know it's a bug and say, hey, this is wrong. And actually within here, you can actually talk and leave a message and just say, hey, noticed on the paycheck calculator, it came back with some bogus information around adding a PRN position once per month. The hours weren't matching up. So something like that. And then you can actually listen to it, and then you can say, yeah, use that recording, and then it will drop the feedback to me, and I can look at the note that you left here and hopefully fix it. So hopefully those walkthroughs gave you some inspiration to try it yourself. And I'd recommend that. If you find anything on there that you wish it could do that it's not, or maybe there's a bug, which could happen, hit the feedback button on the right side of the website and leave me some feedback. I read all of those. If there's a feature that you wish it could do, or maybe there's a different, something I'm missing, leave your feedback and make sure you hit subscribe to the YouTube channel. We're going to be doing a lot more of these videos on different specialties, different states, and the income and sharing the pay that other nurses make, and ways that you can make your career even better. And if you haven't already, go to the website and share your salary information, because it's going to help grow the database. It's going to pay it forward for other nurses that are in your similar situation, wondering how much nurses actually make based off of their specialty, their years of experience, where they're living and where they're working. Can't wait to see you in the community. Until next time, thanks again for watching.